Tonight, spotlighting an escalating crime in the GTA amid a national summit to fix it.
Everybody's insurance is going up because of what's happened to me.
One Toronto woman 4 times the victim of auto theft. The solutions being offered at a national summit on the spiraling crime problem.
Please help us. Please keep her name out there.
Plus, one family's 8-month-long anguish after a 26-year-old goes missing. Barrie Police now offering a large cash reward.
This plan allows us to create stability going forward so we can continue to get people off the streets.
And council approves a new plan on shelters, what temporary shelter hotels will ultimately be replaced with. Good evening, I'm Chris Glover. We begin tonight with yet another case of auto theft in the GTA. A Toronto woman says she's had cars stolen from her 4 times in the span of a year. The most recent coming just last night on the eve of a national auto theft summit. The crisis has plagued the entire country with around 90,000 vehicles stolen each year, but the majority of them have been here in Ontario. Dale Manuktuk has our top story tonight.
Everybody's insurance is going up because of what's happened to me.
Kristen Schensel had her car stolen from her 4 times in the past year. The first was in January of 2023. This video was sent to her. At the top of the screen, it shows the thieves dumping her real estate signs. Police found her car within 2 weeks, parked in a West End lot.
What people think that the cars end up from being stolen to write on shipping containers is not actually what ends up happening. The cars are dumped in random lots throughout the city, and then they're left there to see if they're air tagged or tracked.
She also had her rental car stolen. Then her Range Rover was taken again in the fall and once again last night. Range Rovers are one of the most stolen cars in the country.
And like the other vehicles on the top 10 list, they all have push to start vehicles, button vehicles. So keyless ignition, keyless entry. And those are the vulnerabilities that we're seeing with them.
Schensel is skeptical about solutions to the growing car theft problem.
If everyone wasn't making money off this car theft problem in this country, then they would stop it. The insurance companies would put an end to it. The car manufacturer would put an end to it. No one's stopping it because no one cares.
But those major players gathered in Ottawa today along with police forces and governments for a national auto theft summit.
The rise over the last years has been alarming. Organized crime is becoming more brazen, and the international black market for the stolen cars is expanding.
The federal government says an estimated 90,000 cars are stolen annually in Canada, resulting in about $1 billion in costs to Canadian insurance policyholders and taxpayers. Police say it's a complex criminal market facilitated by criminal organizations. Here's how the money works out.
Spotters will identify vehicles and they're paid between $75 and $100 for their role in all this. The thieves between $3,000 and $20,000 depending on the vehicle for which they successfully steal.
Cars often end up in shipping containers and sent overseas. The profits range from $60,000 to $80,000 per container. Some of the solutions being proposed are increased penalties for criminals involved in auto theft and cracking down on the technologies used to steal cars. Police say 68% of those convicted for auto theft serve a sentence of 6 months or less. Meanwhile, violent auto theft has increased by 206% in the Greater Toronto Area. The government says it will have more to announce in the coming weeks. Dale Manuktuk, CBC News, Toronto.
And we're learning tonight that the Prime Minister will be in our region tomorrow. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and Premier Doug Ford will sign a multi-billion-dollar health care agreement. The agreement will lay out how Ontario must spend the additional health funding that the feds promised a year ago. A provincial source tells CBC News the agreement covers $3.1 billion from Ottawa. Included in the deal, the province has to create new primary health care teams, open another 700 medical education spaces, and improve its health care data. The deal will be formally signed tomorrow morning. A busy intersection in Liberty Village was a chaotic scene this evening during rush hour when police say a man was shot inside a building. It happened just before 5 p.m. at a condo building on Ordnance Road near Wellington and Strawn. Paramedics took a man to hospital with serious injuries. There's still no word yet on any suspects. In Richmond Hill, investigators are now saying a 5-month-old baby is one of the 3 people who were found dead in a home 1 week ago tonight. York Regional Police say last Thursday they found the bodies while responding to a call for a wellness check at a home near Yonge Street and Carville. That evening, officers told the public it was an isolated incident. We now know it was a baby that was found, along with a 41-year-old man and a 36-year-old woman. Officers say their names will not be released, and investigators believe it was a case of intimate partner violence. Frontline workers in York say they've noticed a dramatic uptick in domestic violence incidents in recent weeks.
We used to actually think that our trend was more in cases of sexual assault, but we do notice that we've really noticed over the last number of years, the number of intimate partner cases have really increased.
Earlier this week, York police say 2 people were found dead in a different home in Richmond Hill. Police say they were again responding to a wellness check in that instance. No causes of death have been released, but that case is also described as isolated. To Brampton now, where 3 people are dead after a collision early this morning.
Approximately 1:30 this morning, we received reports of a single vehicle collision, vehicle into a pole at the intersection of Bovaird and Chinguacousy Boulevard. At the time, there were varying reports that there may have been a second vehicle involved and that there may have been high speeds. What I can tell you now is that 3 adults were pronounced deceased at scene.
The driver of the second vehicle left the scene, but was later found by police and taken into custody. It's unclear what role police think the driver played in the fatal collision. Taking you now to Barrie, where police announced today they're offering a large cash reward. They're looking for tips to find a 26-year-old Indigenous woman who went missing last June. Patrick Swadden spoke with her family today about the anguish of the past 8 months.
The reward of up to $50,000.
A desperate plea from Barrie's chief of police for information that could lead to the whereabouts of Autumn Shaganash, a young Indigenous woman reported missing on June 12th last year.
We are confident that someone has the information we need to reunite Autumn with her family.
Family that was present at the conference today. Sister Lily Moore says Shaganash went to a friend's on the evening of June 9th and texted her the next morning asking for a ride, but when Moore responded, none of her messages went through.
It's been almost 8 months since we last saw or heard from her, and every day has been difficult. Not knowing where she is.
Barrie police said last summer they're concerned human trafficking could be behind the disappearance. Members of Shaganash's family say they're grateful for the award being offered, but cousin Kimberly Moore is concerned police haven't been able to retrieve key details. She says Shaganash and her friend went to see someone the night before she went missing.
We don't know who that person was.
And police haven't been able to find out or get the information from Shaganash's friend. Moore says Shaganash's phone records show she spoke to someone for an hour the next morning.
And the police can't find that out. Like, we can't find out who that phone call was with. And I think about that every day, you know, like that could be our answer.
It's left Moore and her family frustrated, especially against the backdrop of missing and murdered Indigenous women in Canada.
Autumn didn't deserve to go missing like this, and none of our girls do. Please help us. Please keep her name out there. And
Barrie police say they'll continue to do that and hope the reward will lead to new information.
To remind the public that we don't stop. We are committed to bringing Autumn home and to reuniting her with her family.
Patrick Swadden, CBC News, Toronto.
All right, back in Toronto, this is a live look at the city right now. 4 degrees and cloudy with a solid chance of rain overnight. Tomorrow, expect a chance of showers and some pockets of sunshine, but the real headline for tomorrow is that the temperature is expected to be 12 degrees. Then the temps drop from there. Victor Paolo will be here a little later in the show to time out when that chillier air returns. But east of the city in Belleville, officials are warning of a startling amount of overdoses.
I was downtown at the time. There were ambulances and fire vehicles here treating people on the sidewalk. I drove just 500 meters from here, less than that. In front of the library, we had another person or 2 unconscious there.
An overdose crisis pushing the small city to declare a state of emergency. In the span of just 2 days, Belleville paramedics responded to 23 drug overdose calls. On Tuesday, they had to close a downtown city street to allow ambulances to the area and even advised residents to avoid the city's downtown. Back here in the city, last night a record 12,000 people stayed in Toronto shelters as the system continues to operate over capacity. And while it'll take a while to enact, councillors have now approved a new plan to ease some of that strain. Tyler Cheese has those details.
This plan allows us to create stability going forward so we can continue to get people off the streets.
City Council this week approved a new shelter infrastructure plan. It aims to eventually replace temporary shelter hotels, first opened during the pandemic, with more permanent solutions.
The capital plan involves the creation of 20 new shelters over 10 years, but we have identified to try in this first year to purchase or identify the sites for 5 of those new sites.
While those new shelters are being developed, Council will extend the leases at 17 shelter hotels for up to 5 years.
As we start to build out our base shelter system and allow people who are in those programs to move into custom-built, smaller, purpose-built facilities.
Speaking with local advocates today, they say they're mostly in favor of the city's new plan, but they also acknowledge that more work needs to be done to meet the needs of a growing unhoused population.
I would really like to see us move out of these spaces and actually build smaller, decent spaces, as well as spaces that are appropriate for different communities. We need to build different options that fit different communities and actually make sense, again, for where it is that they prefer to be located.
She especially supports the city's focus on building smaller shelters.
When you have a larger shelter, it's like warehousing people, which is not nice. It's a terrible situation to be put into a location where you have hundreds of other people and not nearly enough staff, so your needs aren't being met. And you're also with all these strangers.
Others say it's not enough for the city to just build new shelters.
There were so many things about the shelter hotels that were life-changing improvements for people, and forcing them to go one step back to traditional shelters would be devastating.
She also wants to make sure the city stays focused on the bigger picture.
Shelters should be a transition. It should be a step towards housing.
City staff say next steps in the plan is to finalize the city's 2024 budget so its real estate partners can start searching for the new shelter locations. Tyler Cheese, CBC News, Toronto.
Welcome back. A pair of new taxpayer-funded ads from the provincial government are drawing some criticism tonight. The commercials, which have taken up space during primetime events, are being labeled by critics as a waste of public money. Queen's Park senior reporter Mike Crawley explains.
What if we told you there's a place where it's all happening?
This is one version of the government's new TV ads.
A place where more people are going to work than ever before.
The ads trumpet what's going on in this province, both with industry and infrastructure.
A place that's building new roads and highways and leading the largest transit expansion in North America.
The ads have already run in such choice time slots as the Grammy Awards and the NHL All-Star Game. The target audience is Ontario.
And what if we told you, you already live here?
This ad campaign is paid for with your provincial tax dollars, and that's got critics shaking their heads.
This is not the kind of ad that taxpayers should have to pay for and be on the hook for.
Self-congratulatory government ads used to be banned in Ontario, but Kathleen Wynne's Liberals changed that and then spent millions of tax dollars on ads like this.
Household electricity bills will be more affordable, an average of 25% less.
In the 2018 election campaign, Doug Ford promised to tighten the rules on government advertising, but hasn't kept that promise. Instead, Ford's government has spent nearly $40 million on ads that the Auditor General called out as partisan, like this.
More jobs are being created. Bridges and highways are being built.
The Premier's spokesperson says the new ad campaign is about instilling pride in Ontario's accomplishments and confidence in the province's economy.
To me, it's outrageous. It's absolutely 100% partisan and totally inappropriate, and they know it is. And so Ontarians are out there having to listen to this stuff.
The government is refusing to say how much it's spending on the ad campaign, although the cost will be revealed at the end of the year by the Auditor General. A similar campaign that ran last year about the healthcare system cost more than $20 million. Mike Crawley, CBC News, Toronto.
And a significant move on the province's education file today. Ontario's education minister announcing all students in grades 7, 8, and 10 will soon learn about Black history. For that story, let's turn to Queen's Park reporter Lorenda Redekop.
The government made the announcement in front of students at Lincoln Alexander Public School in Ajax. It's a school named after Canada's first Black Member of Parliament, who later became Ontario's Lieutenant Governor. The education minister credited the local MPP for the changes. She's also his parliamentary assistant.
Black students need to know their ancestry is more than slavery. It's a story of survival, resilience, and perseverance.
But she says this teaching is important for all students, not just Black students.
Black history is Canada's history.
The education minister says over the next year, the government will consult with historians, educators, and the Black community on what exactly the teaching will include. It will go from pre-Confederation to more modern times.
We are committed to ensuring every child, especially Black and racialized children, that they see themselves reflected within our schools. It's long overdue.
The head of one of the teachers' unions is in favor of this, with one caveat.
I am hoping that there will be adequate training, support, professional development for the teachers who will be delivering this curriculum. It hasn't been the past practice of the government, but maybe it will be different this time.
Lecce also announced all school subjects will have a mandatory curriculum review every 5 years.
For 15 and 16 years, we had a math and science curriculum that left so many kids behind, that was not updated in a timely manner. Under this government, that will never happen again.
He says some reviews could find no changes are needed, but he wants all subjects looked at more frequently. Lorenda Redekop, CBC News, Toronto.
Turning back to the weather now, and the warmest day of the week is tomorrow. Then we're in for a bit of a cool down. Let's get back to Victor Paolo with the long-range forecast.
Now, quick peek at the map of North America here. One thing we can note is that Arctic air mass right around where we're located here in Ontario, a lot of western Quebec as well, has really moved itself up north. Now, that's going to be resulting in a lot more warmer temperatures from the south working its way to where we are, and that's why you're going to be experiencing more double digits on your Friday. Now, taking a look at the long-range forecast, well, you can see a lot of green here where we are, but as that Arctic air mass pulls its way down closer to your Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, when we look at our 3-day forecast and our 7-day, you will notice the temperatures slowly start to decrease after we get through Friday. Now, talking about weather, talking about what we're going to be expecting, let's talk about tonight. Tonight's going to be 5 degrees, feeling like 1, and we do expect some rain to start falling right around 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, but it should be all said and done by the time your morning starts. Now, how much rain are we going to be expecting? Well, quick peek at the total amounts here. Right around 2 millimeters is all that's going to be said and done by the time we get through Friday, and we're expecting some more scattered showers to pass through on Saturday as well. But again, no big rainfall really expected to reach the GTA. Other areas such as London will be receiving closer to 10 millimeters. Now, here's what it's going to look like from a bird's eye view. Again, not big systems really working its way by. You can see them right here, and I do take a bit of a closer look as they do pass by the GTA. Here's what the scattered showers will look like for your Friday, and then here's what the showers will look like for your Saturday right after lunchtime as they work its way through. By the time it's supper, it'll be all said and done, and Sunday's looking to be a day where it's going to be the return of sun and cloud. Now, quick look at our 3- and 7-day forecast. Well, one thing to note, we are expecting a bit of precipitation on your Friday and Saturday. Sunday's the return of the sun and cloud, but watch the temperatures drop as we start next week with your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. By the time we reach Thursday, it's going to be a low of -8, feeling like -3. But the good thing is we got the warm temperatures, which we can enjoy for tomorrow. Hope you all have yourselves a great night. And over to you, Chris.
All right. Thank you, Victor, and we will be right back. Our Toronto Raptors made some big moves today as the NBA trade deadline passed, including moving a few assets.
You know, we did our heavy lifting about a month ago, and so I feel like this trade deadline, we cleaned up a lot of things, and we, addressed some of the things we talked about after the OG and Pascal trades.
The Raptors acquired Canadian center Kelly Olynyk and second-year guard Ochai Agbaji in a trade with the Utah Jazz. The team also traded guard Dennis Schroeder and forward Thad Young to the Brooklyn Nets for guard Spencer Dinwiddie. He has since been waived from the team. Now, meantime, guard Bruce Brown was not traded despite lots of rumors.
It was surreal when he was drafted. And it was surreal when he hit his 10-year mark, and now to play for a team that he grew up watching is like, again, it's another pinch me moment.
Oh, I love that. The pride of parents. That's the mom of our new Raptor, Kelly Olynyk, a Scarborough boy at heart. And long before joining the NBA and being drafted, he played for the Scarborough Blues in the Scarborough Basketball Association. Finally tonight, more reasons to celebrate, and this time for hockey fans, and not for league action, but for public practice. The Leafs holding a special outdoor event today at Nathan Phillips Square. Greg Ross was there.
It was a party-like atmosphere at Nathan Phillips Square, with thousands of screaming Leafs fans watching the team practice outdoors.
I've never been to a Leafs game, so this is quite the opportunity.
They look way faster than on TV, because like TV, it's like so high up.
Leafs players competed in a 3-on-3 scrimmage. Captain John Tavares said he felt like a kid again.
A lot of us grew up playing on the outdoor rink, so it's cool, fun for us to little skate, a little 3-on-3 tournament. That's always fun, and obviously you can hear and feel the passion and the love for this team is incredible.
These weren't the only fans that got to see the Leafs up close and personal today. They surprised some unsuspecting fans on the TTC this morning. Players traveled by subway, wearing all of their equipment except for their skates. Coach Sheldon Keefe says they caught some commuters by surprise.
It's a mix of confusion and excitement. I think some people will ask questions, not quite sure what's going on, and others are, I think maybe you're planning ahead and expecting us.
Brian Reeves said it was a different experience.
It's like a petting zoo, to be honest with you.
The Leafs shared the spotlight today with their PWHL counterparts, who squared off in a skills competition. It was the highlight of the day for some fans.
There's never really like a big league for girls, and now there is. So it was cool to see them out there.
Leafs defenseman Morgan Riley said it was a good break from the day-to-day grind.
I think it's just enjoyable. It's a nice change of scenery. It's a long season, so to come out and enjoy the outdoors and be right downtown Toronto is a lot of fun.
And that might be just what the doctor ordered for both teams, who are about to enter the stretch drive of their seasons. Greg Ross, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, it might not feel like the middle of winter, but it sure looked like a cool opportunity. And that is it for us tonight. I'll be back with you again tomorrow night at 6 p.m. and then again at 11 o'clock. I hope you join us, and we'll see you then.